Okay, the next piece here, open the buffet as early as possible and keep it going as long as possible. And just this incredibly inviting meal. For us, it's goat cheese and wonderful vegetables and radishes. For the beneficials, it's pollen and nectar and other insects. Okay? So you set that table as early as you can. You get that buffet open as early as it can be open. You keep it open as late as it can be. How do you do that? One of my favorite examples of early plants that feed beneficials is pussy willows. Ever been outside in February when the pussy willows are in flower and there's pollen all over them? You can't believe the massive numbers of mostly wasps, Hymenoptera, wasp family, right? That includes ants, you see them there too, right? Buzzing all over the pussy willow. It's winter, right? It's February usually. Sometimes it's late January, sometimes it's early March, but usually it's February, right? Insects are not that time of year, but it's a warm day, and they know to come out, and they know to go to the pussy willows and get one more meal to help them make it through, to have enough fat reserves, so when they get going in the spring, quickly they can start laying eggs and start reproducing. So if you can make sure they get that meal, then it's just like feeding that Pacovid wasp and having her come and land on the broccoli flower. Right? They get an early meal. And one of my favorite examples is aphids. You're going to see a bunch of pictures here of aphids. What's great about aphids is you get to learn your beneficials by having aphids. Very often, the aphids you have are on something you don't even care about. Aphids are very specific. You can have all kinds of brassica aphids at the end of the season because the plants have lost their defense system. They're just trying to make seed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all because they're not going to go over and get tomatoes. They're going to only really focus on brassicas and other kinds of plants. So those aphids are basically a massive steakhouse with beneficial insects. So lots of times, we'll see other examples of that. Outbreaks of insects are actually very good for what you're trying to accomplish. And I spend a lot of time talking about and appreciating certain plants like goldenrod, like burdock, like fennel, that have large aphid blooms because they just help to ramp up my beneficials. Make sure that I have greater and greater numbers of beneficials. Okay. This is all well and good, but what about flea beetles? What about harlequin bugs? We're going to cover that in a fair amount of detail. Right now we're going to go through the slides, show you how they, show you some bugs, show you how those concepts fit into what the pictures are showing. That's one of my first points. This is a milkweed. The number of things that milkweed can do are incredible. During World War II, they used the fluff for life jackets. Multiple parts of it are edible. The buds can be cooked like broccoli. It's just an incredible plant, right? An amazing plant. And we're going to see later on, it's also one of those plants that has two different outbreaks of pests that are totally specific to it and that feed the beneficials. There's both the milkweed seed bug, which in its young stages feeds the pests like crazy, and the milkweed aphid. Both of those insects are food for beneficials. I'll show you some pictures of that. But it's here to show you, the truth is, the beneficial insects, the ones that grow the stuff, right? Not the pests, right? Don't feed on these kind of flowers which you eat. These flowers basically are food for butterflies and moths. And lo and behold, this butterfly is a pest. It is a pest. Its young is the parsley worm. Have you ever seen a parsley worm? They're gorgeous. No, I don't. But we do. I'm rich excited to get there. They're as big. Everybody knows tomato hornworm? The great big worm, right? That has the eggs in the back of it all the time. This guy's as big as that. Eats like that one does, and has a horn like that. Right? But it's black and yellow and green and gorgeous. And boy, can it rip up a parsley plant, or rip up a carrot plant, right? But you know what? Most of us have Queen Anne's lace all around. When I see them, I mean, I can spray BT, that perfectly great harmless pesticide, and kill these guys all day long. Would I ever kill the child of that adult? No, I would not. You know, I'm just not willing to do that. That's just way too gorgeous an insect, right? What I do instead is I pick up those worms and I walk them over and drop them on some Queen Anne's lace, and they eat the Queen Anne's lace. They might get back to my parsley, but I don't care. You know, to me, that's just too gorgeous. I'm not going to kill them. Anyway, that's the point of this. It's a pest. You know, pest of something that I don't really care about. It's not really causing me a problem, but it's a pest. And this plant doesn't do anything but bring pests in. To me, what it does is it brings in food. The example I give, Richard's seen it too now, so he likes to say he's given it to, and he can also testify to it, right? First time I saw it, I was at the Highland Lake Inn, and I walked into the garden. Everybody knows the white butterfly that lays the cabbage worm eggs? You know, it's that white butterfly with a black spot on its wing. One of those is going sideways through the air with its wings closed. How's it doing that? And then I noticed it was being dragged by a dragonfly. Dragonfly was eating it and carrying it through the air. And the dragonflies, they don't really show up at first. They're kind of clear looking. You know? And all the time, dragonflies will catch butterflies and fly off them. And you'll see the butterfly going sideways. If you see a butterfly going sideways, it's the dragonfly has it. But what was my response when I saw it? It's the exact same response. What? You know? And having butterflies means I'm feeding dragonflies. Dragonflies are never going to be the cure to your insect problems, but they're a piece of it. So many things are a piece of it. So having that food and so many other insects that will use the various butterfly larvae and butterflies for food is great. So you want as many butterflies as you can have, even if they're pests, and there's no queen bee. That's the point of having that milkweed bin. And then, of course, there's all the other reasons to have that milkweed. And then you have the fancier one, the pleurisy one, the orange one. It'll have the same impact and be even show it. Okay. Here's another example of farmscaping and multifunctionality. This is anisetum. Has anybody ever tasted an anisetum flower? Aren't they amazing? If you don't like anise, you may not like it. If you like licorice at all, you taste this flower, you cannot believe the power of flavor in one tiny flower. And it works wonderfly as an edible flower, and the insects adore it. It's in the mint family, which is a spectacular family for feeding beneficial insects. Again, it's not invasive. It's wonderfully showing. So that's an example of farmscaping. Okay, here's a spectacular example. Can you all make out this many soldier beetles there? Can you see those? We have to make it a little darker, not really, I guess. But anyways, have you ever seen those in your garden? Pretty common insect. They're in the lightning bug family. Yes, a lot of people go, is that a lightning bug? They're in the same family. The family is Lepidopterid. The whole family is beneficial. They feed on insects. And, by the way, lightning bugs lay their eggs on slugs and snails. I used to have a market garden in Oakland, California. And because it's dry in the summer, we had hardly any insect problems at all. But every night I would have to go out and pick the migrating slugs and snails, and I could get a 5-gallon bucket. Because there's no lightning bugs to control the slugs and snails. So when you see, are people getting to see that, or do you need to come up closer to see it? Can you make them out? Yeah. If you see that amazing show of lightning bugs out there, just know that you're also getting the balance that you need with slugs and snails. It's not like you don't get out of balance once in a while, but if you think you got slug and snail problems here, go to California. That's all we ever talk about in gardening. How to control the slugs and snails. I can tell you one ridiculous story after another, the measures we took to control them. So I kind of think that you can do fine download games with these guys, because I guarantee you there are more of them than you can even imagine. And every one of them, if you don't know, is mating. And what does that mean? They're feeding, they're mating, they're laying tons of eggs, and these guys, what they do is they patrol plants and they eat the eggs of other insects. I'm sure they don't go, oh, that's a ladybug egg, I won't eat it. They eat all the eggs. But it's okay because they're doing their part. They're creating that web of life that gives you that balance and that riot of diversity. And actually, this one and Seamac ladybug, which hopefully we'll see out there or get online, that is the ladybug that looks a lot like a cucumber beetle except for it's pink. People know that insect? Mm-hmm. That is the Seamac ladybug. Seamac stands for Coleobrogylia maculata. Okay. Even the etymologists say Seamac. And it is I think it's my totem insect. I just really have a connection with this one. I always am happy when I see it. And it just moves at a very high rate of speed. Richard calls it the BMW, or the Porsche of ladybugs. Because it's moving real fast, covering a lot of territory, eating eggs. And that, and the Pennsylvania soldier beetle, will be in high numbers on parsnip flowers. Parsnip flowers are incredibly good food, beneficials. And what I've learned by accident, right, by paying attention to nature, is I let parsnips go to seed and keep coming in on their own next to my asparagus. And it's about perfect timing. I cut asparagus. When I cut asparagus, I cut it all until it gets down to about pencil size, and then I let the stalks start to grow. So I have it for next year. As long as I'm cutting all the stalks, the eggs of the asparagus beetle are laid on the stalks. So I'm washing them off, cooking them, maybe eating a few, may not notice it, they're not going to hurt me, they're protein, you know. But I'm basically controlling them by doing that total clean cut. Then I have to let the smaller ones shoot up and make furs, so I have them for next year. At that point, those eggs are surviving. If I didn't have a powerful array of beneficial insects, as in Pennsylvania soldier beetle and sea-neck ladybug, I'd have to spray soap to control those eggs, or I'd get an outbreak of asparagus beetles. But because my parsnips are flowering about that time, I've got control. I don't have to do anything. Asparagus beetles don't bother me. They're there, but they're in balance. I used to pay my neighbors' kids a penny, actually I paid them a nickel, and I paid a penny for Japanese beetles and for other insects, but for asparagus beetles, because I wanted to keep them in control and not let them take off, I paid a nickel in asparagus beetles. Because I didn't have that balance. And now I have that balance, kids are out of luck. They're going to find some other work. You know? Oh, by the way, I did miss mentioning that when I talked about the web of life, I should have mentioned it's not just bats, it's birds, it's frogs, it's turtles, it's your neighbors at a penny apiece. You know? Go get the kids to go play for bugs. It's all of life. Definitely didn't want to miss that when I got the kids, because I've experienced it. Okay, so. Are you about to try and do something? Okay, cool. All right, great. This is one of my examples of multifunctionality. This was a great example if you're a market grower. This is bronze fennel. When I first heard about it, I thought, wow, this is going to be another hot one for restaurants. And then I talked to Bill Dow, one of the early pioneers, the first certified organic farmer in the Carolinas, who just passed away this year. Definitely one of the foundation people of the organic movement in the mountains. And I was seeing him, and I talked about bronze fennel and how great it was that we had this new color fennel. He said, I can't really get the rest of them to use it because it doesn't make them all. Over the years, I've learned that you can use the newest baby growth salad mix. It's only going to be worth doing that if you can get them to pay you a high-end price for salad mix. And that's one of the things that will convince them to pay you a high-end price, because it's really unusual. It has this little odd flavor and strange colors and texture. So if you want to do that, that can pay off, right? Otherwise, not that good a restaurant, right? Until it's in flower. When it's in flower, like parsnip, it's one of those Apiaceae family, carrot family plants, spectacular beneficial insect plant, right? But restaurants are now putting fennel pollen on food. And look at it, that's precious, you know. And I then had a chef ask me if I can get him fennel pollen. I said, how many $1,000 an ounce do you want to pay? Because just imagine, have you ever tried to see how much pollen you get off of one fennel flower? You know, an ounce is just going to be impossibly labor intensive. But I had Hector, with Hector Diaz, who does salsas and chorizo and that stuff. I had him down showing the garden here last year. I walked him over there and I said, you know, Hector, what we could do? This is the brainstorm I had at the moment. We can cut those flowers, take them in, just have the flowers in a jar, in water, and then when you're ready to do it, just knock the pollen on your plate. You don't have to have anybody collect it. You can have it fresh off your flower. It's like, show me you're a chef right there. Like, oh, I wasn't cooked once, but I think there's a farm. And so you can sell flowers to people, and they can do their own, you know, they don't have to pay to have it collected. You know, meanwhile, those flowers can then go out and decorate the table. Once you knock the pollen off, nobody wants pollen on their tablecloths, right? They grow sunflowers so they don't have pollen. That pollen, if it's fennel, is worth money. So you get double value there. And so you get flowers, you get greens if you want them in the springtime, right? You get the fennel pollen, and in the early spring, there's an aphid that's specific to that family that's all over the young greens. Guess what? Ladybugs, soldier beetles, all those guys, that's meat for them. They just tear them up. They're getting an early meal. So you get all these different functions from one plant that, by the way, grows itself and makes babies that you can sell or give away. And yet it's not particularly invasive. You can to choose how much you have. And actually, the seeds, you set them out on the table after an Indian meal, and that's what you get when you go to an Indian restaurant, right? Because it's a little thing full of fennel seeds. They're great to chew. It can relieve gas. It makes your mouth fresh. Fennel seeds can also be used for cooking. Loads of uses for one plant. All right. Now we're getting into the insects. And this is an example Richard likes to use all the time. The concept here is bracketing. You want to have more than one predator that controls the pest. You want to be able to get different stages of the pest, right? So the pest being controlled here is aphids. It's not a great shot. We're going to get better shots. You got an aphid over here. You have what would have been an aphid here. It's a little golden ball. We'll see a better shot of it later on. That's an aphid who I say fits 40 weeks. And now, unfortunately, as I get older and my audience is sometimes younger, that joke doesn't go over as well. But if you ever watch the movie Alien, that's what I'm talking about. This poor aphid's got the alien in it. And the alien in this case is a Braconiid wasp. One of those wasps I talked about earlier. And what she's done, she came up with her ovipositor and she laid an egg inside that aphid. And that aphid now is going to hatch out and get a Braconiid wasp rather than an aphid. And that happened because we had enough food and enough eggs laid. If she was laying 30 eggs, it wouldn't be much control on aphids. But if she lays 300, that starts to tip the balance in our favor with aphids. And then over here, this is a serpent fly larva. And you can kind of see it's like a very almost translucent looking green or yellow worm, right? With a white stripe down the center. That is a serpent.
Serpent?
Serpent. S-Y-R-P-H-I-D. Serpent. Serpent fly larva. Okay, now this is great too, because you got the bracketing, but you also have here insects that are benefiting from different habitats. Okay? The serpent fly larva, that could have been laid by an insect that came from a quarter-mile away. It's a strong flyer, so you might not have your farmscaping together, but your neighbors might have a whole bunch of flowers in their yard, and the serpent flies fly over to your yard if you have aphids that lay eggs. Meanwhile, that Braconiid wasp, you can go from this market garden here to the backyard, which we might get to a house away, where we have 2 backyards that we're growing in, and you'll find different genetics of the same predator. Because they're such weak flyers, they don't get that far. And so they have their own distinct little populations that are totally attuned to that microclimate. So you have to have habitat for the strong flyers and the weak flyers. And that's why you need that diversity of habitat. And you can't just grow farmscaping in one big bed in the center of the garden or something. Because those weak Braconiid flyers may never make it out to the edge. Better that you have food and shelter and water in as many places as you can throughout the garden. Because the anarchist is a little chaotic, you know, a little bit, I like that. I know people are like, but I want my flowers here, my vegetables there, and they got to learn to let go a little bit. You don't need too many. You can still have concentrations of flowers. You need to let a little bit of action happen in beds that are just about vegetables. Another great farmer who passed on this year, Charles Church, his solution there, because he grew on a very large scale, he would look and see where plants didn't take, and that's where he goes stick his farmscape. So he still put out everything and hoped it made it, but if he had something that didn't take, he'd stick a flower there, or he'd stick a trap crop there. So you can do it that way. And you can also look and say, where can I stick some really wispy little things, like just throw a few buckwheat seeds here and there. A few buckwheat seeds aren't going to be a problem anywhere, they're just so wispy. Or a few cilantro seeds. You know, I get to tell this joke every time. I love it. Okay? You've heard this talk before, you've heard it before, Joe, I'm sure, right? Cilantro drives people nuts, right? They can't get a crop because it goes to seed so fast, right? So now in catalogs they have slow bolting cilantro, right? And I've grown the slow bolting cilantro when I do. And I wanted to be sure that it was slow bolting, so I've timed it, right? I timed the regular cilantro and the slow bolting cilantro. And definitely the slow bolting cilantro bolts more slowly than the regular cilantro, by at least 45 minutes. And this is a problem if you try to get a crop to take cilantro to market. But if you want beneficial insects, you guys can go home tomorrow and take cilantro and scatter seeds through your farm or your garden. and they're going to start growing, and you can cut some herb as you want, you'll have more than you need, and the rest is going to bolt in no time. You can implement farmscaping in a matter of weeks, because that's how fast cilantro grows. So something that drives us nuts is actually an advantage. And that's the whole point of this talk in general, is we have to get the dualities and accept the strengths and weaknesses of every part of our operation. And get it's not about things have to be one way. It's like we have to see how things work for us and not try to change the nature of it. They can breed cilantro forever, it's still going to bolt hard. Yeah, I have to be a little slower, but just not that much slower. There's Scoliosis again. That yellow band, those blue wings, hanging out in some goldenrod. We're going to see later on, goldenrod is one of those farmscaping star plants. Here, making nectar and pollen. It's in the family of composites, sunflowers, zinnias, spectacular family. With probably the farmscaping plant. It's not a farmscaping plant, but gets more planting because people think it is than any other plant. Can you tell me what that is? It's a composite, and everybody plants it to get rid of insects. What is it?
Marigold?
Yes. Everybody plants marigold to not have insects, right? Guess what? Big fat no. Pretty darn useless. Because the effect that you get is positive from composites is the nectar and the pollen and the attraction of insects to the flower. And if you look at marigolds, nobody goes near them. They just don't bring bugs in. And that's why people thought they'd be good for bugs, because they repel bugs because they stink really bad. Right? Bugs don't like them. So people thought planting will keep the bugs away. They'll keep the bugs that have meat or food away. But I'm sorry, that cucumber is going to fly by over those marigolds and think, damn, if those things don't stink. But there's those cucumbers, and I'm going to tear them up. You know? It just doesn't work. You can put a circle of marigolds around a cucumber, it's not going to keep the cucumber from falling. You know? And the theory is they smell so bad the cucumber beetle won't smell it. Guess what? Their sense of smell is way good. They can smell a cucumber from a quarter mile away. So, back off on the marigolds, grow them if you like them. We always grow some because they're pretty, but they're a lousy farmscape. Meanwhile, the rest of the flowers in that family are pretty wonderful. Unfortunately, one of my favorites, zinnia, it's better than marigolds, but it's not a star. But, you know what? We still grow a lot because we love them. And that's something I want to tell you. Grow the plants that speak to you, and then figure out how they work. Figure out how to get the balance. Don't not grow marigolds or zinnias because they're not the best farmscape. But remember to have the other composites like sunflowers, bachelor buttons, goldenrod that are in that family that are spectacular. And by the way, we have lists. We do have the list. We have the web page. It's got all the lists. So I have to rattle off every one of the ones that are great. You can just go to Dr. McDonald, Mr. McDonald, Dr. McCludge, and the whole list is there. And I made those lists up. We got them for every season. Trust me.